Within the first 3 minutes of the anime adaptation of Frag Time, timid high schooler Moritani Misuzu melts into a puddle, freezes time, runs away, gets lonely, gets horny, chats up a cute girl, and, whoa. If it isn't me most every time I open up Discord. For reasons I haven't gotten around to researching, anime seems to understand social media a lot more often than most mainstream Western films and TV series. Frag Time, a 2-volume yuri manga serialized through 2013 and 14, which was recently adapted into an OVA, before the studio that produced it filed for bankruptcy, leaving a huge swath of their animation staff unpaid, #Animators and Game Developers Unionized 2021 Challenge, features no mention of social media, and only a few passing displays of internet use. Despite this, it just so happens to be a very accurate and poignant illustration of what being in an online relationship is like, better than any other piece of media I've yet seen. Moritani Misuzu is petrified by the prospect of socializing, and when she discovers as a child that she has the ability to freeze time for 3 minutes once per day, she uses that power to evade interacting with human beings whenever possible. Social butterfly Murakami Haruka is completely lucid and fully aware that time has stopped whenever Moritani does this. Murakami doesn't have a problem with Moritani peeking up her skirt, so they do the obvious thing and start dating, despite hardly knowing each other. Perhaps even because they hardly know each other. Because they're the only ones who really know each other at all, or at least they feel as such. While these two girls live in the same region, go to the same school, and are even in the same classroom every day, Moritani and Murakami may as well be worlds apart. Moritani is an emotionally distant introvert with no social life, while Murakami is a people-pleasing princess, the most popular girl in school. Their friend circles, or in Moritani's case the absence of such, are an ocean away from one another, and this gap is only bridged when Moritani stops time. Their activity in this frozen time space is the one thing that connects them, much the same as the internet was the one thing that connected me and my ex over the half a country between us during our short-lived romance. So, in late July of last year, I met another cute trans person on Twitter. They were a small YouTuber like me who liked anime like me, who found me promoting my video in the replies of a more notorious, bigger YouTuber that we were both a fan of. So they started Discording me, and it was then that I learned how to flirt. It is much easier for me to flirt in Discord channels, especially while drunk, than it is for me to flirt with flesh and blood humans in any in-person context. When I have an eye for physical humans, I tend to either stay tight-lipped, or just drop all pretenses and cut straight to full-on love confession with very little in between. I fall in love far too easily with far too many people, which is part of why I'm polyamorous, but that's a subject for another video. As a timid, awkward, socially reclusive shut-in, I obviously very easily relate to Moritani. While I can make for some pretty good conversation once I've been made comfortable and gotten started, I take a while to get comfortable, and I'm pretty bad at getting started. I'm also pretty bad at reading the room, and am easily reduced to an unconfident, incoherent, anxious mess. And all this can and does lead to confusion and hostility. While these flaws do not disappear in a digital context, they are far easier for me to manage and mitigate online than off. Online, I am never visible unless I want to be, so I can approach conversations without feeling the pressure of participation that I would in a physical space. Online, if I don't want to interact with someone, I can generally click away, and no one will ever even know I existed. But offline, my presence is always recognized, and if I try to leave, people will notice, and they might respond. Moritani's time stop ability serves much the same function for her, to make her invisible, to peer into the lives of others unseen and unheard, and in that invisibility and anonymity, she finds the opportunity to fully explore herself without fear of sanction, to discover her personality and her sexuality. There's this one montage in the manga of Moritani stopping time and obsessively spying on people engaged in semi-public displays of affection, and she remarks,
Girls in my grade are doing it too. I guess it's normal. We are in high school. I wonder if I'll ever do it.
Moritani learns through her exploration in Frozen Time of the possibility that she might be able to love a girl, something that she would probably have otherwise not considered. Much as I, in discovering a couple of certain anime YouTubers and interacting with their community, became conscious of the possibility that I might be a girl. In the anime, Moritani stops time to flee a conversation, and once she's outside the school, sees Murakami and decides to look up her skirt, seemingly on a whim. The anime version of the scene conveys the spontaneity to the lecherous act that is absent in the manga, which opens directly onto Moritani's peeking, with only a bare introduction of the story's premise prefacing it. Her narration implies that the act was premeditated, that Moritani has had her eye on Murakami for a long time and planned ahead of time to feel her up. The remarks about how Murakami is different, delicate, built differently, as Moritani feasts her eyes on her target's figure, suggests an innocent, naive curiosity, like a 15-year-old on Tumblr. This could easily come off as creepy, and were it a man doing this, it would be, well, let's just say a bit harder to play this off as innocently as Frag Time does. But Moritani is, as Murakami says, demure. Baby-faced, awkward, and innocent, she's presented as a harmless prepubescent youth, out to discover herself in learning the secrets of others. The internet has a way of revealing truths about people that are difficult or impossible to access in the real world. As my parents eased up on regulating my access to the internet, I sought out more openly countercultural communities and ideas, and learned more about what kind of a person I really was. And that's why I'm now an anti-state radical trans catgirl. Those aren't traits I can be so brazenly open about offline. So, Moritani's secret frozen time space is not only a place of reprieve from the pressures of social interaction, but also a place for personal and emotional introspection and exploration, for learning, for observing others at a comfortable distance, for creativity and personal expression, and occasionally mischief. And these are all, to me, essential functions of the internet, because I find it difficult to fulfill those same functions to my satisfaction in meat space. And that has, I feel, genuinely made me a more whole person. Not a perfect person by any stretch, but a more complete one. I am still unsure of what to make of my life, but at the very least, my exploration has made me more certain of who I am and of who I want to become. But although the internet has helped me more fully know myself, I'm not sure I can say there is anyone else on the internet who I've come to know the same way. It's easy on the internet to get to know a lot of things about a person. It's hard, however, to really get to truly know a person. People are more than the sum of their parts, and the internet only grants you access to some of those parts, even if they may be some of the most revealing parts. What you gain in honesty, you lose in nuance. In real life, you've got a whole live human in front of you, obviously, and with them, their face, their body language, their speech, and its cadence, pitch, intonation, and all the many other neat perks that come with being an alive person. But on Discord, all you have to go off of is text, and in lieu of manipulating one's body and voice, the best you can do is manipulate that text, and you only have so many options there. And this is before you factor in me being someone who writes for a living, who was raised to be a writer by a washed-up journalist, and most other people being, not that. We've all got that experience of sending a message, not getting a response, and then irrationally believing that the other party must have something against us. Or putting off sending a response to someone, and then later thinking, oh god, What's the point? They probably hate me now. Both sides being cases of our feeble minds trying to make the best of limited information. While Moritani and Murakami don't have to struggle with those particular inhibitions, the nature of the frozen time space poses its own limitations, chief among them the 3-minute per day time limit. This, compounded with Moritani's social ineptitude and Murakami's existing relationships, means that the two girls simply don't find enough time to truly know each other. The time they do get to free themselves socially, emotionally, physically, feels precious and powerful, much as venting my soul into someone's Discord inbox can be. But just as I can't truly fully know a person who lives half a country away or farther, no matter how much they may tell me about themselves in our messages, Moritani and Murakami can't truly get to know each other in the daily 3-minute pockets of space-time.
私が時間を止めたって、村上さんを独り占めすることはできないのに。
When I closed the distance between myself and my ex about 2 months after we had started talking, we quickly realized how little we actually knew each other, despite knowing so much about each other. In fact, I think it'd be fair to say the entire thing was a near immediate disaster. All we'd had to know of each other up till then was our text messages, our YouTube videos, and our voices, the few times we'd been in voice chats together. We didn't fully know each other as people, and we didn't really know what we wanted and what we ought to have expected from one another. Relationships often move faster on the internet because the lower stakes of interaction and abandonment of traditional social norms incites more people to quickly open up about personal details. The result is that you get to know a lot about people, and being humans, we very easily confuse that for actually getting to know people. Sure, the two overlap. You are, to a certain extent, getting to know a person when you learn more information about them, but that alone won't tell you everything. Moritani's relationship with Murakami escalates about as rapidly as my failed romance did, and with about as much melodrama. After reaching a high with a thrilling scene of fleeting intimacy, it later dawns on Moritani how one-sided that intimacy really was, and how little she and Murakami actually understand about one another. Amidst a series of miscommunications and a mess of muddled feelings, Murakami prompts Moritani to finish what she started, and she decides to visit Murakami in her home. There, as they converse over tea, and Moritani hesitates to escalate their intimacy further, she learns the truth. Murakami doesn't have a personality to call her own. She doesn't have wants, desires, wishes, interests. She wants nothing other than to please others, she says. And to that end, she's taken careful note of everyone else's wants on a collection of note cards about how to satisfy the desires of everyone around her. Murakami's love, she claims, is a false one that she gives to Moritani because that's what she believes Moritani wants. And Murakami submits, gives it to her readily, just the same as she has submitted to everyone else's wants her entire life. But there is, of course, one small problem. This isn't what Moritani wants.
それが女の子同士ならなおいい。相手が誰だって。やめて！私はそんなんじゃ！
It's easy on the internet to get to know a lot about a person, but it's hard to get to really know a person. Murakami mistakenly believes that all there is to people in this world is their desires, their wants and needs, their superficial traits, and how to complement those traits, and she approaches Moritani with the intent to please, same as she has everyone else. And it's an understandable impulse for a girl who is more or less literally trained to be a doll her entire life, to think of her peers and her betters as instruments to ascend the social ladder of this hierarchically minded world.
友達とか仲間っていうのはクラスでヒエラルキーが高くて自分を着飾って強く見せるための道具でしかない。違う？
And social media encourages a similar stripping of nuance because Well, I could bang on with some big philosophy of Twitter rant, and maybe that would be interesting, but we all know that the long and short of it is that it's designed to drive advertising clicks. However, the internet can also reveal a lot of hidden truths about people that they would never reveal in meat space, as I said, and in much the same way, the girls' shared 3-minute time pockets reveal another side of Murakami, a bolder, mischievous, daring side, betraying the truth that, of course, she wants something of her own. Murakami, exploring herself within Moritani's hidden time space, finds herself liberated, free to explore who she really is without fear of sanction, and in this, revealing the sort of person she truly wants to be. And while Moritani sees this as an indication that Murakami has taken her social role in this world for granted, she also understands that there is more to her, and to herself.
私だってわかんないよ。けど村上さんの単語帳に書かれたことだけが私じゃないから。村上さんも同じでしょ。
The end of the anime keeps the future of Moritani's relationship with Murakami ambiguous, but whatever turn it may take, it's clear that both girls have at least come to know themselves, if not each other, more fully, and changed for the better. So yeah, Frag Time is, in my opinion, a good dramatic representation of my experience of being in an online relationship. It's also an exceptional manga, and makes for a beautiful anime, and its short length in both mediums makes it an ideal introduction to Yuri. It also has a really gorgeous break with reality sequence, showing Moritani's fantasy of living in frozen time with Murakami for all eternity. It's like that planetarium dancing scene in La La Land, but anime and gay. The staff at Qweer Studio did a beautiful job with this adaptation, and they deserve to be compensated handsomely for their work. It's unfortunate that the anime industry is in such an appallingly broken and corrupt state as it is, and that we as viewers, especially from halfway around the world, sadly don't really have any significant pull in fixing that system. On that note, I'd like to thank a few of my supporters. Alf, Athiet, Eli Bergmass, Genevieve, Corin, Michelle, Nishwert, Scimitar, Tis, and every other name now going by on screen. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, share the video to your Reddits and your Discords and your Twitters. You know the whole deal. And if you really liked it, you can join my Patreon to get access to early videos and exclusive content like bits of unfinished or abandoned works, or my old embarrassing fanfictions. Bye bye.